Okay, team, now step 3 is a little more involved in the first 2 steps, but we can handle it, right? Okay, now this is the installation of the Kingpin, and it's going to take some sub-assembly in order to install the front and rear axles. So we're going to need the contents of the Kingpin bag and the front and rear axles. Break, go give me some axles. Okay. Sure. I'm cracking the whip on you too. In the bag, you will find 1/4-inch flat washers, 1/4-inch nuts, 1/4-inch nylock nuts, also known as your Kingpin nuts, 1/4-inch by 3 1/4-inch gold-colored Kingpins, 1/4-inch by 3 1/4-inch machine bolts, 1/4-inch by 2-inch flat washers, 1/4-inch by 1 1/4-inch fender washers, and 3/8-inch bushings. Let's get started on the bushing subassembly. First, place a 1/4-inch by 1 1/4-inch fender washer on a silver machine bolt. Then place a bushing with a flat end against the fender washer on the machine bolt. Now insert the assembly through the top of the floorboard with the beveled end of the bushing against the floorboard until the bolt extends through the opposite side of the Kingpin location. Next, place a fender washer on the machine bolt against the floorboard and install a 1/4-inch nut on the machine bolt. Use your wrench to tighten the machine bolt assembly until the bushing ends are flush with the floorboard, like this. When that's done, remove the nut from the machine bolt and the fender washers and repeat all of these steps for the second Kingpin bushing location. Okay, now just repeat those steps for the stabilizer bushings in the back of the board. All right. And now we're ready for the Kingpin front subassembly. Start by placing a 1/4-inch by 2-inch flat washer, that's the big washer, on the gold Kingpin bolt. Then insert this assembly through the bottom of the floorboard at the front axle location and press it through the floorboard. After that, put a flat washer on the Kingpin, then put a fender washer on top of the 2-inch flat washer. Now put a 1/4-inch flat washer on top of the fender washer. Okay, now you're going to want to identify the front axle for this step. Now the front axle has 2 pre-drilled holes in either end, whereas the rear axle only has 1 pre-drilled hole in each end, making them easy to identify. Place the front axle on the 1/4-inch flat washer. Then put the 2 1/4-inch flat washers on top of the axle. Install a 1/4-inch nylock nut called the Kingpin nut and tighten the whole assembly. Install a second nylock nut on the front Kingpin assembly. Here's what the front axle Kingpin assembly should look like. Now we're going to move to the rear Kingpin subassembly. First, place a 1/4-inch by 2-inch flat washer on the gold Kingpin bolt. Insert the Kingpin washer assembly through the bottom of the floorboard at the rear axle location and press through the floorboard. Place the rear axle plate onto the gold Kingpin. Align the holes in the rear axle plate with those in the floorboard. Place a 1/4-inch by 2-inch flat washer on the Kingpin on top of the rear axle plate. Place a 1/4-inch by 1 1/4-inch fender washer on the Kingpin. Then place a 1/4-inch flat washer on the Kingpin and place the rear axle onto the Kingpin. Place 2 1/4-inch flat washers on top of the axle. Then install 1 1/4-inch nylock nut. You know that's the Kingpin nut. Don't completely tighten the Kingpin assembly. You'll make adjustments in step 11. And here's how the complete Kingpin subassembly looks.